Hey y'all, hey, so I'm back with another video. So this is going to be a little bit of a different format. I'm not live streaming or anything, but I want to treat this kind of as such. So I'm going to be like researching things as we're like kind of having this whole not conversation, but dialogue about this. But it is May 4th. It is a Sunday this year, 2025. We are here to discuss the 1 year anniversary of the craziest, most insane weekend in hip hop history. And that's not even a stretch. May 3rd, May 4th, May 5th, and 6th was the craziest time frame ever. Literally, and we were all so like wonderfully blessed to be alive for that moment last year. A lot of bullshit came from it, a lot of annoying things came from it, but I think we can all agree that that shit was a fucking moment. We have never ever got anything like this where it was records back to back to back to the point it literally got to the point where if you go back, because that's all I've been doing the last couple of days and last week is just kind of going back and looking at people's videos from last year regarding this. It got to the point where like by the time like Not Like Us or like Heart Part 6 came out, we as the audience was like, okay, please goodness, can you guys just stop? Like, give us about a month break and then let's come back to it, because it was way too much to consume at one time. All of the songs, it was too much. We didn't even have time to sit with any of the songs because another one dropped and another one and another one and another one. So anyway, we're here later to talk about it. A lot of this conversation is going to be framed around shout out to Rory and Maul. It came up maybe like in one of their pods maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like Maul versus 100 Kendrick fans would be great, or like Maul versus DJ Head would be great. And so they did that for their 1 year anniversary of everything that happened. So we had DJ Head, if you don't know, which is a West Coast DJ, very much so affiliated with Kendrick's camp. And then obviously we have Maul, who we know is a OVOing. So a lot of my conversation is gonna kind of be like tied into their conversation, and I want to kind of make some points off of their points, but I'm going to have up on the screen a graphic of the timeline, okay? I want to be very clear about the timeline of everything because the timeline is so important. So important. And what we're not going to do is try to rewrite history of how everything actually played out, right? So we're going to start from the very fucking beginning and we're going to work our way through song by song by song by song. We're going to be here for a while, okay? So get some snacks, I don't care, do something, but we're going to be here for a nice little minute. Just so that everybody knows where I stand, if you're new to this channel, if you do not know, yes, I prefer Drake's music as far as me listening. Like, who am I listening to on an everyday basis? I am going to be listening to Drake more than I am Kendrick. I feel as if between the whole beef, I feel like Kendrick won. However, it was for me, I like DJ Head said that he didn't do it round by round. I scored it round by round. And when I scored it round by round, to me, there were 4 rounds, right? And to me, it was split. It was 2 and 2. So I've said this a couple of more times before in the past, but for people who are new or don't know, this is the way that I scored it. So although this did not start with push-ups, I know DJ had said that that's where he kind of starts it. And I guess that's technically like the first volley back and forth, but be clear on who started this. His name is Jermaine Cole if we really want to start this. But the way that I score this is push-ups, because push-ups was the first song that Drake put out, and then Euphoria, because Euphoria is the first song that Kendrick put out. Now granted, the order of things was push-ups, Tailor Made Freestyle, Euphoria, 616 in LA. But that's why I score it that way. So when we do push-ups versus Euphoria, I give Euphoria the win. So that's Kendrick 1. Then when we have 616 in LA versus Tailor Made, I give that to Tailor Made. That's Drake 1. Kendrick 1, Drake 1. Then I have Family Matters versus Meet the Grams. I give that to Family Matters. So we have Drake 2, Kendrick 1, and then we have Not Like Us versus The Heart Part 6. I give that to Kendrick. So 2-2. The reason why I give Kendrick the win is because to me he edged Drake out. He edged Drake out in strategy. In both strategy and the fact that Not Like Us became a hit. To me, that's why I give Kendrick the win. But I don't view this battle as like a lot of like the way that people try to make it seem online, like Drake was just washed throughout the entire thing. And if you go back and actually watch people's reaction at the time, like during the beef, that's not even how it was skewed. By the time we got to Euphoria, like right before Euphoria, people had Drake up. Be very clear. People were looking at Kendrick wild because it was taking him a while to drop. But we'll get there. Long story short, just so that we're all on the same page, that's where I stand as far as like, how I scored everything. And we'll go through everything and I'll give my reasons. But let's start from the very beginning. Okay? This all started, and this is kind of the beginning of the DJ Head and Maul conversation. Like I said, I'm going to be weaving in and out of that conversation as well, right? So we start off with First Person Shooter. That came out October 6, 2023. That was on Drake's For All the Dogs album, okay? Him and Cole, alrighty? So, in First Person Shooter, well, before we get to that, let's talk about what DJ Head and Maul talked about. So, Rory confirmed that not confirmed, but there was a rumor that Kendrick was asked to be on First Person Shooter. So it would have been Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. Now, it is not known why Kendrick did not get on the song. Now, when asked, DJ Head said that he didn't know. Maul said that maybe just like the plan that Kendrick had, with maybe dropping a new album or whatever it is that he had going on, maybe he was just like, nah, right now it's not the time for me to do that, right? Possibly. So, First Person Shooter drops, as far as Drake did say, I love when we having a dinner and the girls are talking about who to go, say it is, who to go, okay? That's maybe like the most that Drake really said about the whole GOAT conversation. Cole is the one who said, as this screenshot says, love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K. Dot? Is it Aubrey or me? We the big three like we started a league, but right now, okay, but let's stop for a second before we get to that second part, because that second part is important. So, let's remember, ladies and gentlemen, who brought up the big three. It wasn't Aubrey Drake Grant. It was not him. It was Jermaine Cole who brought up the concept of the big three, not the concept. Let's be very clear. Let's talk about the big three first, right? The big three has been a conversation forever. It's just been something that fans have always acknowledged that those are the big three. And when we say the big three, we're talking about that specifically kind of came out of a certain era. So pretty much like the 2010s, you would pretty much kind of say, who were the biggest three rap artists that was really moving and shaking things during that time frame, and that would be Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. And the greatest part about all three of them is that they all kind of covered like different aspects, I feel like, of rap and hip hop. Like everybody covered the bases. With those three people, we were covered. Drake is gonna give you like the hits or whatever. Kendrick is gonna give you very much so conscious rap, but also hits as well. And then J. Cole is gonna kind of give you like the average college suburban type of feel, but also very lyrical at the same time, giving very Nas vibes, giving very very much so Nas vibes, right? So that's why they're the big three, because they covered they pretty much covered hip hop. Those three people covered hip hop in every aspect that needed to be covered. We didn't really need people outside of that. So as far as the ranking of the big three, that's something that's always kind of been in contention. I've always felt like all three of them, as the years have gone by, I feel like the order has always changed. It just kind of depended. At sometimes I had it Kendrick, Drake, Cole. Sometimes I had Drake, Kendrick, Cole. Sometimes towards the end, and this is very important, right before we get up to where we are right now on October 6th, Cole to me at that time was number one. It was Cole, Drake, and I had Kendrick slotted at number 3 because I personally didn't really care for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. I thought it was an okay album, but my biggest thing with Kendrick is that Kendrick is not just a very good, as they will call him, conscious rapper, but he was a rapper that was able to give the messages that was needed, but it not come off very preachy, for it to be coming off very digestible. That was one of the most selling points about Kendrick, because there's 1,010 niggas that rap the way that Kendrick do, and maybe even better, but not everybody can deliver it and make it in a song and present it in a way that has replay value. That's to me why Kendrick had slid down for me personally in the big 3. So we have Love When They Argue the Hardest MC, Is It K. Dot, Is It Aubrey or Me? We the big 3 like we started the league. But right now, I feel like Muhammad Ali. Okay? So if we stop right there, right, outside of the greatest of all time, we got to go back to the very top of the song. Remember, the top of the song is him saying, I hear people debating about my numeral. Not the 3, not the 2, but the U and O. So Cole, again, let's remember, Cole is the one who started this whole Converdam station. And that's something that Maul has said a lot that seems to go over a lot of people's head, is that technically Cole is the one that kind of started all of this. Okay, so let's remember that. So that song comes out, okay, goes number 1. Cool. At this point, now Drake and Cole are on tour. I went to, the best part of all of this, right, is that I went to go see Drake and Cole and Dirk in February. Like the second week of February I went. I'll probably put like a few clips here. But yeah, it's crazy in hindsight that I went to literally like a Drake and Cole and Dirk show a couple of weeks before all this shit popped off. Like, it made it so much better for me. But anyway, so everything's cool. The song comes out. The song goes number 1. It's Cole's first number 1. Everybody chilling. Nobody thinks nothing, bitch. Okay? Then we have Future and Metro. They have an album coming out called Don't Trust You. Okay? Raises a couple of antennas because people are like, what you mean? There was some mumblings about the fact that Metro and Drake didn't have the best relationship. And there has been this long-standing rumor that Future has a problem with Drake because Drake did the joint album with 21 Savage and he didn't do What a Time to Be Alive 2 with Future. Don't know if that's true, but that is a potent rumor that has been around, that Future really had a problem with the fact that he did that album with 21 and not with him. Okay? So take that all into consideration. So then we have Kendrick Lamar, who drops on like that, right? Really excited. People was really excited because, Kendrick don't really pop out like that. So pop out and show niggas, okay? So gets on the song, okay? Walking around with that stick, it ain't on J3K. Nigga, fuck the big 3. Nigga, it's just big me. Nigga, bum. What? Then you keep going. It's a K for all his dogs. He gonna see Pet Cemetery. That did literally broke the entire internet that day, because it was like, what? It was a lot of things going on, because first of all, it was confusing to a degree, right? Because I don't think initially, I don't think anybody heard First Person Shooter and thought anything negative about Kendrick, right? But when you really stop and you listen to what Cole said, it's like, okay, I can definitely see how he had a problem with that. Now, Kendrick and Drake has always had a little friendly, little back and forth or whatever. But to me, and this is just a me thing, right? This is just a me thing. I still don't understand to this day what Kendrick's biggest smoke with Drake was, because unless there's some shit behind the scenes that we don't know, I guess that's the most confusing part. It feels like his energy should have been mostly towards Cole, and he did give him bars, but it felt like the Drake shots was just kind of unnecessary. Like it didn't make sense to me because Drake wasn't the one that shitted on that shitted on you. He wasn't on the song talking about how he was. He did say like when we talk about who the GOAT, but it was mostly Cole that shitted on his bar. So that part was confusing to me, but cool, whatever. We here now, right? So that was like a little nuke that kind of went off. Everybody was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the hell was that? So from that point, it's like, do you think Drake responds? Does he not respond? Now, me, I know listen, this is the one thing I could say about Drake, right? I don't know if I'm a Drake stan. If I am a Drake stan, I am a reasonable Drake stan, right? And so throughout this whole battle, even post the battle, even the corny ass shit that Drake has done, I know who, like when I say I know him, obviously I don't know him personally, but I have followed Drake long enough, okay, since fucking Replacement Girl days, but before that, the Grassy days, to know how that man kind of moves and the different things that he does. So that's why the shit that Drake do, it don't really surprise me. Is it disappointing at times? Yes. But is it surprising? Never that. Never. You're dealing with, I'm a Scorpio as well. We're dealing with a light skin, petty ass Scorpio from Canada, who's the biggest fucking thing in the world. There's certain things that I know for a fact he gonna do. I'm not saying that it's right, but I take a lot of the shit that Drake do and I let it roll off my back because I'm like, of course he would. You know, so it doesn't really bother me as much. Anyway, but all I have to say is that it was a conversation about whether or not Drake was going to respond. I knew that his ass was going to respond. First of all, one thing that DJ Head did say when we were talking about like people going back and forth, he was like, he said, I knew Drake was going to respond because of ego. And I 1,010% agree with that. Fuck everything out. That he's a man, okay? And he has a big ass ego. You think he was about to let that go? Now, I feel like, now I know a lot of times people have said, oh, they've been throwing shots at each other over the years. But to me, it's never been as blatant and as a complete direct shot as this one has. Yes, and King Kunta, he says his little stuff or whatever, but like that is a direct, be clear, the like that verse is a direct response to first person shooter. That's like the first time Kendrick has ever done that. Kendrick doesn't normally like rebuttal people is what I'm trying to say. And if you pay attention, the rest of this beef, Kendrick didn't respond to shit. Really think about that. I want y'all to go back and really think about that. Like that was the only time that Kendrick was pretty much like the person who punched. Everything else from the rest is like just him sitting back like nothing happened. But cool. Like that happens. Now, what nobody was expecting. Now, they didn't talk about this with the DJ Head and Maul thing because they said that wasn't the point of conversation. But we're going to talk about it, damn it, okay? March 22nd, like that comes out. April 5th, J. Cole dropped 7 Minute Drill, which was on the, oh, damn it, the daggone mixtape that he dropped, right? And 7 Minute Drill was at the very, 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 very end, okay? And literally 7 Minute Drill. Let's talk about 7 Minute Drill for a second, right? Light work, like it's PWC, it's a tech work. Okay. So the biggest thing that came out of 7 Minute Drill, which to this day, I'm going to tell y'all why I don't feel like this is fair, right? When 7 Minute Drill dropped, one of the main things that people online were holding on to was the fact that Cole did that whole little, bout where he was like, your first shit was classic. Oh no, let's look it up. Sorry, I told y'all, we doing this like right on the daggone fly, right? Sorry about that. Okay, so my internet was acting really dumb. Anyway, so again, going back to what I was originally said. When he put out 7 Minute Drill, the biggest thing that was going on the timeline that people had a problem with was him pretty much trying to underplay Kendrick's discography, right? So I have the lyrics up right here. So he said, your first shit was classic. Your last shit was tragic. Your second shit put niggas to sleep, but they gassed it. Your third shit was massive, and that was your prime. I was trailing right behind, and I just now hit mine. Now I'm on the front of the line with a comfortable lead. How ironic! As soon as I got it, now he wants something with me. Okay, so people were literally dragging the shit out of Cole for his take on that. So when he says your first shit was classic, so that's Good Kid, Mad City. Everybody agrees that that's a classic. Your last shit was tragic, meaning Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was tragic. So people had a problem with that. I'm going to tell you, I ain't had a problem with nothing Cole said. People felt like, that's not true, Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper was good. Okay, maybe I felt like that. But that album came and went. I don't give up how much Kendrick fans want to try to rewrite history. That album came and went. That is a fact. It's not to say that it was terrible music, but it had to me, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is his least replayable album. I don't go back and listen to it. You can be saying like I said before, you can be saying great things, but if it's nothing I'm gonna go back and listen to. And I've seen a lot of Kendrick fans being like, oh, I really gotta go back and take the time and go back and listen to it. So when he says your last shit was tragic, I agree, and it was received as such. Okay, and then he said your second shit put niggas to sleep, but they gassed it. And this is the real problem with a lot of people, okay? So he's talking about To Pimp a Butterfly. And then there started to be this big conversation online about how that's bullshit, that's not true, that was a classic off top. Shout out to FD Signifier, but even he was like, I think I gotta do a video because that was an instant classic. No, it was not. And I did a whole video on this already, but to sum it down, is To Pimp a Butterfly an amazing, great album as far as like concept and the way he put it together? Yes. But to be very clear, when it came out, be very clear, I was in college. Let me see. To Pimp a Butterfly came out when I was either a freshman or a sophomore in college, because the reason I remember is because I was on my daggone way to my job at the time. Okay, working at a daggone 2015, I am a senior. No, sorry. I'm a sophomore. I'm a sophomore/junior, because if it's in March, yeah. So I'm a sophomore. I'm a sophomore in college. So I know what the hell I'm talking about. That album, when it initially came out, was not the best received. I'm talking about from the average person, not somebody who's much older and was able to grasp it I'm talking about the average person. It was a hard album for people to grasp. And I remember the first time I put on To Pimp a Butterfly, I turned it off maybe like 5 minutes into it because I was like, okay, all right, this is not what I'm thinking. This is something else. I went back and I listened to it, and it's not to say that To Pimp a Butterfly doesn't have value and isn't great and isn't a classic in all its ways. But the conversation online was like, nobody ever said that it was boring. And yes, the hell they did. People was like, we don't want to hear that. Like Drake said, what I know y'all got a problem with, that slave ass rap. Nobody wants to hear that. Even the visuals that went along with it. People were not initially feeling that album. That's a fact. I think it took time and, for certain people to kind of, even me, like to grow and mature to really understand that album. But to sit up here and be like, that was never a narrative is bullshit. That was absolutely a narrative at one point in time. So I didn't like the fact, and the reason why I'm saying all of this is because I didn't like the fact that Cole was held such to a high standard for that. But when we get into Euphoria and Kendrick said something like my classic, you don't have one, saying that Drake doesn't have a classic album, but nobody jumped on Kendrick's ass about him lying about Drake's catalog. And to me, that's when I started to see, oh, I see what's happening, especially online. Because y'all literally Cole got dragged mostly for shitting on Kendrick's discography, when that's the whole point of this shit. But when Kendrick blatantly says lies, because no matter how you feel about Drake, you can't say that he does not have a classic. Even if you feel like he don't have a whole bunch, for you to at least not acknowledge Take Care as a classic, it's bullshit. And you might as well just stop talking to me. If you can at least acknowledge, and to me, Take Care is not even my favorite album. Nothing Was the Same to me is a much better album than Take Care. But if you can at least unanimously come to the agreement that Drake has at least one classic, then you might as well just click off my video. There's nothing for us to even talk about. There's nothing to talk about. I'm not saying he has 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going off of what Kendrick says. And if we're holding everybody to the same standard, the same way that J. Cole got his ass handed to him for saying that he like that his shit was boring and all this other shit, then Kendrick should have been called the fuck out for saying and held to the same standard, to the same veracity, but he wasn't. And that's one of the few things I felt like wasn't fair during that whole thing. But anyway, puts out it comes out to some mixed reviews. Now, I didn't think that 7 Minute Drill was the greatest this song of all time, but I thought it was a cute like jab back. I was like, okay, it's cute. It reminded me of Charged Up. If y'all remember, go back, Charged Up. That was the first diss that Drake had towards Meek Mill. I felt like it was that. I'm like, okay, it's him. It's just him kind of like, jabbing real fast and seeing, all right, I heard you on like that. You said fuck the big three, fuck the big three. It's just big me. Now some people felt like Cole should have hit much harder than that because of that line, but I wasn't mad at it. And guess what? I wouldn't have been mad at it if when Cole followed up, if he did follow up, it would have been like a boop, 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 boop. Then I would have been cool. And that's what I thought was going to happen. That's what we all fucking thought was going to happen, okay? And then literally no more than like 36 hours later, during Dreamville Festival, he gets on stage and apologizes. I was so disappointed. Like, oh man, my heart just hurt so daggone badly. And it hurt so badly because as somebody who's never, okay, be clear, born centered, like that whole the warm up, is it the warm up? Yeah, the warm up, born center days. I am a J. Cole fucking stand around that time. Okay, me and my bitch took a little trip, down to the garden, took a little drip, oh no, apple juice falling from her lips, took a little sip, and that's him and Kendrick. Took a little sip. Okay, my favorite song by J. Cole of all time is She Gonna Pop? Like, literally, okay? So, during that time frame, huge J. Cole stan. But as time went on, and then obviously 2014, Forest Hill Drives is a classic. Like I said, I was like a sophomore in college when I dropped. Very, very, very pivotal fucking album in my life. But past that, I really started to fall off. And I didn't really rate Cole as high as I used to. So at one point in time, to me, it was like, oh, it's Kendrick, Cole, and Drake. Like that's how I always kind of looked at it. And then to me, it felt like Cole just kind of slipped. I just wasn't being pulled in and touched by his music. Like that KOD album, I know a lot of people like that, but that was the first album I felt like, what are we doing here, hun? Tell me what we're doing. Cause it's not clicking for me. Mind you, you're putting out KOD, but like Kendrick's putting out like Damn, and Drake is putting out like Views, and it's just like he started to slip. But again, as we got a little bit, maybe like the last 3-4 years, you hopping on records a lot, you're doing a lot with 21 Savage, all these different things, because Cole always had the same like criticism, kind of like that Nas did about like his beats and stuff. So he started to hop on different beats. The fucking rapping is immaculate. So to me, he started to move up. Okay, the Miss Them Around, the Big Steppers came out, and I wasn't really feeling that. So I'm like, all right, Cole, you moving up a little bit. And then For All the Dogs came out, and I hated For All the Dogs. I said, oh, bitch, J. Cole is obviously the best. If we're talking about right now, especially in 2023, early 2024, I'm like, oh, Cole is obviously the best out of the big three where we currently stand. That's why I said the list is fluid. It moves. However, for you to take yourself from a clear number one spot, and if you would have really did this, you would have literally, to me, solidified your spot as numero uno, like you said. This was the time to be Muhammad Ali. This was the time to be number UNO, and you literally just failed. You just fell on the job, and it was the most disappointing thing in hip hop history. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. Nobody has ever you apologized. What did Martin say? But I'd be damned if I apologize. What? You said you were sorry? And then you told him, I'm sticking my chin out for you to take the next hit? What kind of weird shit are we on? This, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring back in DJ Head and Maul, right? Because we start to talk about, now this is what Rory confirmed. And DJ Head was like, oh, so you putting that out there like you confirmed it. Rory confirmed that after Like That, right? But I guess before push-ups, that Kendrick and Drake had a conversation about the rules of engagement of the back and forth that they were about to get into. The reason that's so interesting to me, and that is the premise that DJ Head, I guess, kind of stands on for the rest of his argument, which is that Kendrick and Drake had a conversation about what the boundaries are, what lines would be crossed, what lines wouldn't cross, and that Drake crossed those lines first. And so because of that, everything that happened, it is what it is, right? That went past that. Now, let's go to Cole for a second. This is where I'm a little confused, right? Obviously, these are rumors. Well, they confirmed that they talked. So what I want to confirm is the rumor about why J. Cole dropped out. Now, the pervasive rumor is that Schoolboy Q told J. Cole the way that, like, what Kendrick was about to do, pretty much. That Kendrick was really about to take Drake's head off, for real. And that Cole heard what Schoolboy Q had to say about that, and whatever Schoolboy Q told him around that made Cole feel like, I don't want to take it that far, so I'm going to actually pull out. Now, to me, while that's interesting, if true, because if that is true, then that means from the very fucking beginning, because mind you, push-ups didn't come out till April 19th. This is April 5th we're talking about. So if Schoolboy Q had a conversation with Cole, if that rumor is true, then that means that Kendrick always had the plan to fucking take it there with Drake. Because remember, the rumor is that J. Cole, whatever Schoolboy Q told Cole, was that Kendrick was about to fucking take it there on this nigga. So Cole said, I don't even want to take it that far and I'm out of here. But if what they're saying is true, is that Drake and Kendrick had a conversation about the rules of engagement, and if those rules of engagement was like, we're not going to go past these certain lines, then why would Cole feel so scared to back out? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. Okay, so we're all gonna assume that the line was, let's not talk about family. So what the fuck was the line, or what was it that Schoolboy Q told J. Cole that Kendrick was about to do that's so crazy? If it didn't have anything, if at the time the battle was under the guise that it wasn't gonna get personal. That part to me is the only fishy part. Because like I said, if that's true, that Schoolboy Q warned J. Cole about some shit, that means Kendrick always had the plan to come at that nigga that way. So either that's how that happened or that's not true. But it's obvious that Cole heard something. He heard something from somebody. Maybe he heard from both camps that it was, bitch, I don't give a fuck what we talked about. I'm coming for that nigga's head. That part, them confirming that, made me even more confused about the whole Cole situation. And what I'm thinking is, maybe that's why Drake has such a problem with Cole, because maybe all three of them talked, maybe not together, but maybe it was an understanding between all three that it was just going to be some regular ass shit. And then maybe Cole pulling out might have made Drake feel like, well, what the fuck? Like, we all had a conversation that this is how this was going to go. And now you want to pull the fuck out and leave me by myself, when at the end of the day, let's remember who started this. Cole started this. He started it and then backed the fuck out. No, he started it, threw the punch, and then ran away and left Drake standing there by himself. I don't care what nobody said. That's foul, bro. That's foul. You literally started this whole thing with your fucking big three mouth and then threw a punch at fucking Kendrick and then literally just turned your back and said, you know what? Actually, I'm out. Drake, you're on your own. That's weak. Weak sauce, bitch. Weak sauce, weak sauce, weak sauce. And Cole's never gonna live that down. I'm so sorry. Okay, so after freaking Cole decides that he wants to daggone apologize and whatnot, okay? So then we move on to push-ups. So we get on to push-ups. Now, push-up comes out. Now, DJ Head, if we're going back to the conversation, says that, and he's not the only person that felt like this. A lot of people felt like the way that push-ups came out, it came off like it was a little scary because when push-ups first came out, there was a version that came out that people weren't too sure about. I'm not gonna lie. Before I heard the actual version, because I heard like the first version, which was like a little muddled or whatever, and it kind of sounded like AI. The reason why I thought it was fake is because in the rap it said, the way you do a split, your pants might rip. I said, what the fuck bikini bottom shit is this? And I promise you, when he said your pants rip or split or whatever that dumbass line is, I literally cut it off. I was in here cleaning up her room when I heard that, and I just cut it off. I was like, oh, this is bullshit. Because why would Drake ever say pants rip? Like when you do a split, your pants might rip. What kind of ABC 1, 2, 3 shit is that? And I know Drake be having like cringy bars, but to me, I just felt like that has to be bullshit. But then when the actual version came out and I heard it, I'm not going to hold y'all. To this day, I can't even stand that line. The song outside of that little line is a good opening disc. But I take away the whole song. I take away a whole point just because of that one daggone line. It pisses me off. It pisses me off. But anyway, we talk about push-ups. Push-up drops. He's clearly, sending shots, at him, talking about how short he is. You ain't in no big three, as it says. Since I got you wiped down, Travis got you wiped down. He also did like a little shot, like they said at Rick Ross or whatever. But okay, in push-ups is when he says, "I'll be with some bodyguards like Whitney." Okay, right? So most people feel like, and even DJ Head, I guess, feels like that was the line that was crossed, right? Now, thanks to the internet, I found out who the hell Whitney was. I really didn't pay attention much to that line because I did not know who the hell Whitney was. And a lot of people, be clear, prior to this, didn't nobody know you had to be a real Kendrick fan to know who the fuck Whitney was. I didn't know that Kendrick, I don't know shit about Kendrick's personal life, nor did I ever care, right? So once the song comes out, it's like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. But then it starts to percolate online like Whitney is Kendrick's wife or whatever, the mother of his partner, right? And then rumors start to be like, okay, well, why would he say I'll be with some bodyguards like Whitney? So the internet just, now mind you, nobody did this. And this is where like, I'm pretty sure Kendrick had a problem because Drake knows the power of his words. And for you to even say his wife's name and then say it in that way, though, the internet's going to run with this. So the internet literally ran with the line and came up in their head that Drake was trying to imply that Whitney had an affair with one of Kendrick Lamar bodyguards, because obviously the movie Bodyguard is about a bodyguard that protects Whitney Houston, a very famous pop star. They end up falling in love, all this other stuff. So just off of that, I am going to assume, right, that if I'm listening to what DJ Head has to say, I'm going to assume that that's where the problem was, is like, you said my wife's name. And so the conversation comes up between Maul and DJ Head. Do you think it was smart for Drake to say his wife's name? Because even with the, like, I'ma let it ring on her like Virginia Williams or some shit like that, that people didn't like that. So if you did it before, why would you do it again? And Drake felt like, well, I don't really know. Maul was like, I can't really speak for. So I'm going to say this. I feel like if there was a conversation that went on, right, about what the lines were, then yeah, then for sure. Because the thing about it is, although Drake did not say anything like foul, the way that you put that bar together left room for people to run with it the way that they did. That's just the facts of the matter. And again, I told you I'm a straight. I'm as close to a. I won't say like I said a Drake stan, but sure, call me that. But I can be honest about that. I feel like that, but I'm also not one of those people that feel like anybody went across the line. Like, you get what I'm saying? I feel like it was a rap battle. I stand on the side of this was a rap battle, so all things go. That's the school of thought that I'm from. It's a rap battle, so everything fucking goes. It don't matter your mama, your this, your that. It don't matter. Everything fucking goes. That's how I looked at it. So I don't stand on, oh, this person shouldn't have said this. This person. I feel like everybody said whatever the fuck they wanted to, and it is what it is. It's rap. It's hip hop. Get the fuck over it, right? So from there, Push Ups comes out. Now Push Up comes out April 19th. Okay, April 19th at 12:01 p.m. On April 19th at 11 p.m., okay, Drake drops, damn, I didn't realize it was like pretty much the same day. Okay, so literally that same day, then Drake drops Tailor Made Freestyle. Now, Tailor Made Freestyle was Drake using an AI Pac voice and the AI Snoop voice, and then he did a third verse at the end. And it's coming from the perspective of the fact that he's taken such a long time to drop or whatever. And he's like, you know, why? He also confirmed on that song, it's called Tailor Made Freestyle, because Drake says that the reason that Kendrick is not dropping his diss back to Drake, or the reason he's gonna push it back, is because Taylor at the time had like an album that was coming out, and the label really didn't want him to fuck with that. So it was like, okay, you need to wait before you diss Drake. So that's why it's called Tailor Made Freestyle. So it was a combination of the West Coast legends telling Kendrick like, you really need to diss this nigga, but also saying like, you are a company man. And this is something this is something too that, to me, if you've really been oh my gosh, if you've all really been paying attention from the very beginning, this lawsuit from Drake to UMG was always in the cards. Follow it from the very beginning. In Push Ups, right? Top said, you better drop him, give him 50. Like, he's talking about Kendrick's business practice, right? And the way that he has to move in business versus the way that Drake moves in business. And when we get to Tailor Made Freestyle, this is going back to the whole label situation. See, you're a corporate company man. You gotta listen to what they say. So you had a conversation. So they had a conversation with you and said, no, you want to respond to Drake right now, but you can't. Because you want to know why? Because Taylor has an album that's coming out. So you need to sit your little nigger ass down, wait for Taylor to drop, and then when Taylor is done, then y'all can go back to y'all little squabble up. Which to me stamps and verifies what Maul was trying to say to DJ Head, which is that there was a point in the conversation where Maul was like, so you don't think that Kendrick had a conversation with anybody at UMG about what was about to happen? That's what you think. And DJ Head said, no. And he was like, so you don't think not one person, Kendrick didn't talk to one person in that building about what was about to transpire? And DJ had said, no, that's bullshit. And outside of what Drake said, right, which I do believe, because if you look at the time frame, Drake dropped April 19th. Kendrick didn't drop till April 30th. Now, that could have literally just been him taking his time. Cool. But at the same time, I do believe there is no way. I'm sorry. I work in corporate America. Like Ma said, there is no way on God's green earth that the two top people of a label, like two very giant fucking titans of industry, as we'll call them, was about to go back and forth and not one conversation was had. Now, we're not saying that Kendrick went to the label and was like, oh, I need your permission to do X, Y, Z in the third. But to say that there was not one conversation is bullshit. It was abso-fucking-lutely conversation. Now, it might have not been a conversation about, like I said, how everything was going to go. But there was a conversation. This is my thing. If Drake and Kendrick had a conversation about how that was going to go, you don't think nobody at the label knew that? You don't think nobody at the label talked to, and I'm saying even on Drake's side, somebody obviously talked to Drake about what the fuck was going to go on. That's how he knew about Kendrick allegedly pushing his shit back, waiting for Taylor. And somebody had a conversation with Kendrick. Now, again, I'm not saying that Kendrick went and asked for permission from anybody for anything, but for Head to try to say there was no conversation, that's bullshit. There was a conversation, because the money is too large for two people like that to just do whatever the fuck it is that they want to do. Other than maybe Drake, and that's what Drake was trying to say, is that I'm not you. You have to go, and I'm not saying that this is what happened, but Drake, to me, on Taylor Made Freestyle and even on Push-Ups, is implying that you are a corporate puppet. And I need people to pay attention. That that's why I'm saying the lawsuit, if you've been paying attention, is not confusing. It all adds up from the very beginning of what he's been implying, that Kendrick is a corporate puppet. I'm not saying that he is. I'm saying this is Drake's view of it, which is that you can't do what the fuck I do. If I want to drop whatever, I could drop it whatever, whenever, which clearly ain't true because they was janking your shit, okay? But I don't have to wait to drop. I'll drop 2 songs right now. I don't give a fuck who about to drop. I don't care if Taylor about to drop or now. I'll drop 2 songs right now. But you, sir, because you're Mr. Corporate Man, Mr. Corporate Puppet, which Drake is technically corporate too, so that's bullshit. But whatever. But this is his point. Because you're technically a corporate employee, you have to listen to what they say and wait, because you're not as important as Taylor Swift is. You're not me, you're not Taylor, and you're not Beyonce. So no, you can't just drop and come back and forth with me. You have to wait till somebody gives you the okay. And that's what Drake was saying on that song. He was making fun of him. Period. And then he also, like I said, another thing that came up too was the whole call him a pedophile. They said it on the Joe Budden podcast. It gotta be true, right? Now, I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, because I hate when people say this. When people say, well, you're the one who told him to call you a pedophile. It's like the people sometimes are so slow. So slow. First of all, let's start from here. When this battle, when everything was first going on, you want to know what people was online doing? Talking about how this battle would go. And if I was Drake, I would say this about Kendrick. And if I was Kendrick, I'd say this about Drake. That's what was happening online. And one of the main things that was being said about around that time frame was Kendrick needs to say that Drake is a PDF, because that has been something that people online have been trying to hint towards forever, whatever. That's why in the song he said it. So kind of like Maul was saying, it was more of like a 8 Mile tactic. It's more of them, I'm gonna say whatever it is that whatever you can say about me, I'm gonna try to say it first to take the steam out of it. That's what that was about. For y'all dumbasses to really sit up here and say, well, you told him to call you a pedophile, so that's what he did. Y'all are slow. If that is your thinking, you are not smart. You're not a smart fucking person. If you think that was the purpose of that, you're dumb. Now, DJ Head's point was, well, you don't give somebody the ammo to use against you. But the thing about that, DJ Head, is that Drake did not have to say that. You want to know why he said that? Because it was something that was already being said. It's not like it's something that it's not like it was something that nobody had thought of, and then he just went into the background and pulled out something that nobody was ever gonna say. That was something that had already been said, which is why he brought up the whole thing on Joe. Even Joe was hesitant on saying it, but said it. Why? Because it was something that was already being said across the internet. It was already said that 9 times out of 10, if Kendrick wanted to come at Drake, that was his best angle, is to call him that. So no, maybe in your opinion, it wasn't the best thing, but it's not like it gave Kendrick any extra ammo. This is the thing, and I said this from the beginning about this thing. Drake, to me, was always somewhat at a little bit of a disadvantage. I feel like Kendrick and Drake had the same disadvantage, but it was opposite of each other, right? So Drake's disadvantage was that he was so public. So because he is so public, there are so many things that you can say about him, whether they've been said already or not. It's easy to pick him apart because he's always in the limelight. So anybody can take anything you've done since you're in your 15-year reign and point and poke, which is what everybody did because you're so visible. So that's an easy thing to do. And as Kendrick showed, it's easy for people to believe because you're so public. So we have all this information about you, right? The disadvantage of Kendrick, is that he's very private. So if Drake was actually able to like prove the fact that he really did do that shit to Whitney, that would have really destroyed him because people don't know a lot about Kendrick. So if we would have found out the smallest shit about him that was true, that would have been a blow to him at the same time. So Tailor-Made Freestyle, like I said, comes. And then people got a problem with the whole AI thing. Now, DJ Head says, I think it's completely disrespectful, especially like with people that are living and breathing. But my thing is that Snoop didn't care. So you can care all you want and feel like it's disrespectful, but Snoop didn't feel like it was disrespectful, which is why Kendrick even dissed Snoop or whatever, because Snoop didn't care. To be very clear, Snoop is in that same damn company that Drake owns along with fucking Larry Jackson. So if we really want to tie it all together, we'll tie all of that up in a bow. That's why if you look at that video, when Snoop responded, Snoop pans down to the little emblem or the logo right there, because I forgot the name of their damn company. It's like him and Larry Jackson or whatever. They own that together, and Drake helps in that company. The one that Sexy Red and Tommy Richmond are signed to. So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? I agree also with Maul when he said he feels like it's just lazy. I do too. I feel like y'all pick and choose what disrespect is okay and what disrespect is not. Everybody is being disrespectful across the board. We can't be like on one end, well, he took it there, so I'm taking it farther. But I don't really care what other people say. But this one thing I didn't like. And that's what I didn't like, to be fair. That's what I didn't like that Maul did. Maul did the same thing. Maul was like, well, yeah, he said that about his kid, but I don't like that he called him a PDF. I'm with DJ Head. You can't do that. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. So that's how I feel about DJ Head. You don't get to pick and choose what's disrespectful and what's not. Everything is disrespectful as far as this thing is concerned. Everything across the board, everything that everybody said and did was disrespectful. Period. And like I said, the person that you so offended about didn't even care. The person who's alive that you're disrespecting on the behalf of didn't give a fuck. So anyway, moving the hell on. So April 19th, Tailor-Made Freestyle comes out, okay? Now, during this next about 10 days, it was looking real scary and spooky for Kendrick because it was weird. Now, one of the questions too that Rory asked what DJ Head was, does he think it was a mistake for Kendrick to wait that long? And he said no, because you don't tell me when to move. You don't get to hit me and then tell me when to move. Now, this is where, again, if we go back to the beginning, I disagree with DJ Head. Kendrick is the one who hit first. Like, no, to be clear, Cole hit first. And then Kendrick hit back at Cole. But he punched, put it like this. It's like Cole and Drake were walking together, right? And Kendrick was walking in front of them. Cole hit Kendrick, right? Drake didn't. Cole hit Kendrick from in the back of his head. And when Kendrick turned around, he hit Cole. And then he hit Drake too because he thought that Drake also hit him. And then Drake swung back because, nigga, I didn't touch you. Why are you touching me? That's what happened with this. Cole swung at Kendrick. While he was walking down the block with Drake, Kendrick turned around and saw it was two niggas and hit both of them, right? But be clear, Kendrick hit Drake first, because on first person shooter, Drake didn't say one word about Kendrick and he didn't even reference the big three. Only Cole did that. So to be clear, when it comes to Drake and Kendrick, Kendrick was absolutely the aggressor. When it comes to Cole and Kendrick, Cole was the aggressor. That's how this happened. And I know that's confusing to some people, but that is exactly how it happened. Cole hit Kendrick first, and then Kendrick hit back at Cole. Kendrick hit Drake first, and then Drake punched back. So That's why when you say, no, I don't think it took so long, everybody felt like it was taking so long because you're the one that put out like that. You're the one who came out of nowhere and said, I'm going to kill Pet Cemetery. And then when Drake decides to hit back, now you want to take forever. No, people didn't like that. Now, I'm not one of those people who put people on the clock. And honestly, the way that this shit ended, they should have kept it this much time apart because it wasn't enough fucking time to take everything in. It was a fucking lot, okay? So April 30th, 11:23 a.m. Euphoria drops, okay? Now, to be quite honest, it took me a while to get into Euphoria because I don't like when Kendrick does the voices. I hate it. It makes it hard for me to take in what he's saying because you're changing the inflection of your voice and it's like cartoon character like, and I don't like that shit. But if we're talking about lyrically, I think it was amazing. I think Euphoria was Kendrick's best diss. And I'm going to talk about that at the end as well because a lot of people agree. And I'm going to talk about why that matters at the very end. Okay, so Euphoria comes out. Great diss, okay? Don't tell no lies about me, and I won't tell no truths about you. Dun, 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 beep, 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 beep. A lot of classic ones out of that lines. What is it? The braids? I'm YNW Melly. I hate that. I only hate that line because of the way that he delivered it. It pissed me off. And then at the end, doing Crody. Now in that song, he says a lot of things. He calls Drake a deadbeat. He talks about, like I said, pretty much how he ain't shit as a father, while his own about getting like they said, plastic surgery, him not fucking like I said, rapping well, him thinking he's a bad bitch. He dragged him. He dragged the shit out of him. He did. He dragged the shit out of him on that. So that was a really good response. Very good, tough first response, right? But remember that he called him a deadbeat, right? Remember that, because that's important. That's April 30th. May 3rd, 9 a.m. Kendrick drops. Again, 616 in LA. So I know in hindsight, people don't remember this, but to me, 616 in LA is when the tides I seen online started to shift hard too, right? Because then the perception, people forgot that Drake dropped 2 back-to-back. People forgot about that really fast. And we're just so shocked by the fact that that Kendrick dropped a second song again, obviously without Drake responding, right? To me, 616 in LA to me is the weakest song out of all of the songs here. I think 616 in LA a year later is the song that people bring up the least. I think I had did it. I'm pretty sure that when I looked at it, my biggest problem with 616 in LA is that it is a Kendrick song laced. It's like it was a Kendrick song that was already done, right? And then Kendrick just decided, like, at the very end to throw in some to throw in some bars about Drake. That's how that song came off, because I'm almost positive, like I said, I did this last time. He rapped, I think, for out of the 3 minutes and 45 seconds of this song, he didn't start rapping about Drake until 2 minutes and 26 seconds in. The majority of 616 in LA is Kendrick just rapping very fucking well. Like, very fucking well. If it wasn't Drake diss, it would be an amazing song. It would be an amazing song. The last minute and some change, it's like Kendrick just started rapping and forgot that he was in a diss, like in a diss battle with Drake, and then 2 minutes in, he was like, "Oh shit, I forgot. I'm in a battle with Drake." And then started to add in bars. And in 616 in LA, the biggest thing that was taken out of that is that he pretty much tried to imply that there was somebody that worked, like one of Drake's friends or employees was pretty much working for Kendrick. It was feeding him information and was feeding him shit, right? Which plays into Meet the Grams a little bit later. They asked, did anybody DJ Head and Maul, did they feel like that was true? DJ Head was like, I wouldn't say mole, because mole implies that like it's somebody that's like purposely going in your camp and trying to do this. He said, but I did have push-ups, he said, early. He said, so but it wasn't nobody in that camp. So the point of the matter is that somebody was leaking shit, but it wasn't not necessarily like somebody in his camp, but somebody was like leaking shit, right? But I feel like that's just how that be when a thing happens. So Maul says that he doesn't think that there was an actual mole. He do think that people was running their mouth, but he thinks it was more just like a mind trick to have Drake kind of walking around being suspicious of everybody. I agree. Now, mind you, 616 in LA drops May 3rd, 9 a.m. This is where shit starts to get real wild around this time, okay? May 3rd, 11:06 p.m. Drake drops Family Matters. And then May 3rd, 11:58 p.m., which is about almost an hour later, Kendrick drops Meet the Grams, okay? So let's start off with Family Matters. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, when Family Matters and Meet the Grams dropped, I was asleep, right? So, it doesn't, okay, so you know how everyone's like, oh my gosh, it dropped an hour later. I didn't get to feel that. So that's why when I woke up, like when I had woke up, it was maybe like 3, 4 in the morning. So when I woke up, it didn't hit me the same way that it may have hit people that was up when it happened. So when I woke up, to me, it was just 2 songs that was out. And when I found out, oh, he dropped out, I'm like, okay, cool. But it didn't have the same effect like, oh my gosh, it just dropped automatically. I was asleep. So I wasn't looking at it from the perspective of like, oh, Kendrick dropped something right after Drake. I woke up like, y'all 2 niggas are giving me a headache because it was so much back and forth at the time. It was so much. I was just like, oh, okay, cool. That means we got some more records. I got a headache. But all right, cool. That's how I looked at it. So Family Matters. We get a video with Family Matters, okay? Family Matters is 3 different beats. The first beat, Drake is pretty much coming at Kendrick. He's saying how he's a fake activist. Okay, let's talk about the slaves free line. Y'all niggas, like I said, all it is picking and choosing where y'all draw the line and where y'all don't draw the line, to me is full of shit. That's what was pissing me off a lot of this fucking battle. Y'all picking and choosing on both sides. Be clear, on both sides. When shit is not cool, when it is cool, when it's not. You have people that are calling each other deadbeats, PDFs, freaking abusers, all of these things. And y'all are drawing the line at, he said that he rap about the slaves. That's where y'all draw the fucking line. Like, that's where y'all draw the line. After everything that's been said throughout this beef, that's where y'all drew the line. Shut up. That was making me so mad. The picking and choosing on both sides of what was going too far. Everybody was going too far. We're in the middle of a fucking battle. I don't care. Bitch, I watch battle rap. So you can't tell me what's taking it too far as I'm concerned. It's all on the fucking table, right? So anyway, talks about how he's a fake activist. Talks about how, you want to talk about me because in Euphoria, this is also important. In Euphoria, Kendrick brings up, the fact that he doesn't like the fact that Drake says nigga, and not that there's anything necessarily wrong with it. He just don't like it. So when Drake starts our Family Matters, he says, nigga, I said it. I know that you mad. Meaning, nigga, I said it. Meaning, I said what the fuck I said in the first song, and I'm saying nigga now, and I know you don't like that I said it, and I said it anyway. Nigga, right? So he talks about, like, you trying to talk about, like, me and trying to imply that I only fuck with white girls or exotic girls, which we know is not true. We've seen all the women. I mean, Drake do like exotic bitches, but he dates a whole spectrum. That's true. And he also brings up the fact, he was like, in that first verse, he's like, you the black messiah wifing up a mixed queen and hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem. So you talking about me and the girls that I fuck. But first of all, you are supposed to be the black messiah, the black power guy. But the woman that you're with and have a child with is mixed. And I don't know if she's mixed, but she damn sure light skin as hell. And then when he said hit vanilla cream to help out with your self-esteem, you admitted your damn self on Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers that you were fucking white women. You were specifically fucking white women because it made you feel better. But you want to talk about me. And to me, this goes back to my initial problem with a lot of the things that Kendrick fan says, which is like, oh, well, this is how I look at it. This is exactly how I look at it. The same way how people say, well, Drake called him a pedophile or whatever, right? So that's what he did. Okay, well, Kendrick said on his own album that he's the one that was cheating on his wife with white women to make himself feel better. And you want to know their response to that? Oh, well, you can't bring it up because he already said it. Well, so now y'all understand. Now you understand. Now you understand. Just because, same thing with Drake, just because Kendrick said it, doesn't mean that I can't now point it out. I'm going to point it the fuck out. So I thought that was a really interesting take, right? And he said a few things about Metro. Cool or whatever. And then the biggest part of the first half is that he says that your GM, if your GM is your BM secret BD, then this is all making plenty fucking sense to me. Now, before he says that, he said, we could have left the kids out of this. Don't blame me. So I feel like a lot of the issue is going to come right here. And I think this is like a Drake and Kendrick thing, right? I think that Drake didn't think, and this is the part that I don't understand, how Drake didn't think that saying Kendrick's wife's name would be a problem. Because what it seems like, before he gets into the kids, he starts off by saying, we could have left the kids out of this. Don't blame me. So I'm about to talk about your kids, and we didn't have to go there, but you talked about my son, right? Now you talked about my son by calling me a deadbeat, saying what in Euphoria, saying all of these things about me. So because you want to bring up my kid, now I'm bringing up your kids. That's how Drake looks at it. But I think Kendrick looks at it like, well, you brought up my wife's name, so now I'm bringing up everything, including your kids. And I think Drake looked at it like, well, I said your wife's name, but I ain't say shit about your kids. But you brought my kid into it. Do you know what I'm saying? I think this is where the issues came in, y'all.